Hi, my name is Matthew McConnell. Today we're going to talk just for a few minutes about the leukocyte count, what it is and what it means to you. So what is a leukocyte? Well, a leukocyte is a cell that is carried in the blood and body fluid that is involved in the immune response to invaders such as viruses, bacteria, fungi, and parasites. Oftentimes you'll hear them called white blood cells or WBCs for short. There happen to be 5 types: neutrophils, basophils, eosinophils, monocytes, and lymphocytes. In order to count them, we have to collect them. In order to collect them, we can do that in a few ways. We can either draw blood and put it into a machine to be counted, or we can do it mechanically. In other words, we can prick the finger and then do a smear. A smear is when we take a drop of blood and place it on one clean glass slide, as you can see in the picture. We then take a second slide, touch it against the drop of blood, and then smear it by sliding it at a 30 to 45 degree angle from one end to the other, trying to leave just a single layer of cells. After we've created this smear, we need to stain the slide. That way we can see it through the microscope. In order to do that, we take the slide and let it dry. We then dip the slide in methanol for about 10 seconds, and then we dip it in a eosinophilic red 5 times, and then into a basophilic blue 5 times, and then we just simply rinse it off quickly with some deionized water. We let it sit and dry, and then we can look under the microscope. And when you look under the microscope, you're going to see something similar to what you see in this picture. And you can see that there are erythrocytes, or red blood cells, and then there are also 3 types of granulocytes. The ones that have the presence of granules, you can see it's a little bit like sand, and those are the neutrophils, eosinophils, and the basophils. And then there's 2 that don't have those granules present, and those are the agranulocytes, and you can see those as lymphocytes and monocytes in this slide. So we've drawn some blood, we've made this smear, now we can see all the different kinds in there, and now we can count them. And in order to do that, we start at one end of the slide and count from left to right, bottom to top, all of the white blood cells, and we keep track of each individual kind until we've completed our 100 white blood cell count. So we've counted them up, and now we got to see what those numbers mean. So first we need something to compare them to. So here is a list of what normally is found in the blood. So you can see that the erythrocytes, or red blood cells, per every microliter, there are approximately 5 million. When it comes to our leukocytes, neutrophils are the main leukocyte that we're going to find, and there are approximately 4,150 of those per microliter. Then next will be our lymphocytes at 2,185 per microliter. Then the monocytes, the big guys, there's approximately 455 of those per microliter. Then our eosinophils, 165 per microliter, and last our basophils at 44 per microliter. Now these numbers might seem a little daunting, like the neutrophils at 4,000, but by comparison, in that one little microliter, that's only about 0.084% of the total cells in that microliter are neutrophils. They're a very small percentage. Okay, so we've counted our white blood cells, and we noticed that we have way too many neutrophils. We've done some calculations, and we've figured out that we've got, let's say, 8,000 neutrophils hanging around. This probably means that you have some kind of infection. Bacteria has made its way through your skin. You got a cut, you got a sliver, you got a wound of some sort, and those little boogers are running over there trying to eat up all the bacteria, and turn them into parts. So those high neutrophil counts mean you probably have some kind of little infection, or that you've got a wound, and oftentimes you'll see this result in pus. You'll see all the pus and stuff coming out. Let's say your eosinophils are high. These guys are kind of your parasite guys. They want to go after those little worms. They're gonna chase them guys down, and they their high number you're gonna see from parasites being in there. Your basophils, these are a little bit different. They're kind of a helper. They're gonna help bring blood and help bring more neutrophils and help with that first reaction, that first response. And so they actually increase the amount of blood coming to that spot, coming to that injury site. So if you've got high numbers of basophils, you've probably got an infection or an allergic reaction to something. Your body's not happy, and some chemicals released by the neutrophils and in their response, and they're communicating to each other and saying, yeah, we need more blood, we need more neutrophils, we got to fight whatever's coming in. If your lymphocyte count is up, this is more in relation to the specific immunity. These are things that are kind of already known, like we've had this kind of cold before, or this type of flu, and our body is sending out all these T cells and B cell type, they're going out. They know that something's there, and they know how to kill it, so they're heading that way. If your monocyte number is up, these guys are really good at eating stuff. I mean, they're big, and that's kind of their thing. They're gonna go find the pathogen or whatever's making you sick, and they're gonna go eat it. Literally, they're gonna go eat it and break it up into little tiny pieces. So if that number's high, obviously they're out there, and your body's telling you need more eaters. So that's what they're doing there. So here we've just got a couple more pictures and another slide here that shows the percentage of those cells up there in the top left, and you can see that of the leukocytes, that neutrophils make up between 40 and 75%, the eosinophils 1 to 6%, basophils, they're going to be less than 1%. They're just not around. The lymphocytes 20 to 40%, and then the monocytes 2 to 6%. And then it kind of gives you just a little bit of what you're looking for with these when you're looking at that white blood cell count. If you see, a pretty decent sized cell, and it's got one big lobe, one big dark central lobe, and it's circular, and there's not hardly any other space in there, that's probably a lymphocyte. If you see one that has two lobe nucleus, there's quite a bit of extra room, and you can see that sandy, those granules in there, that's a eosinophil. And if you see one that's got, it kind of looks like a whole bunch of blobby nucleus things in there, that's multi-lobed, and that's your neutrophil. So those are just kind of some pictures to look at to give you a little better idea what those leukocytes look like under the scope. And here's just a little more representation visually of what's going on in those leukocytes. You can see up here a macrophage, and that's when leukocytes move to the tissue there out of the blood, and you can see he ate this little pathogen guy, and he's going to show it to the T cell, and the T cell is going to take it back, and they're going to work on telling all his buddies to look out for it, and creating a protection mechanism. So And then down here you can see that this is like a neutrophil coming in, and there's a bacterium coming in one end, and it's getting chewed up and spit out the other end, and those little parts are flying out, and that just gives you a little more to look at. So the white blood cell count, or the leukocyte count, it's intended to show us what's going on, what the immune system is doing in there, and if there's high numbers that we need to be concerned about, what those each individual cell, what those mean, what disease it kind of points to, and what infection or what's being fought in there, and that's useful. So when you need to know why you're sick and the doctors order some blood, or they do those counts, that's what that's for. It's to see why you're sick and what you might be sick from. So thanks for watching.